Hey everyone, welcome to homerecordingmadeeasy.com, visionrecordingstudios.com, and here on my YouTube channel. And today I want to do a short video and talk to you about inspiration. And what I mean by inspiration is inspiration to help you get better at mixing, get better at mastering, get better at recording, get better at making music in your home studio, to get better productions and to push yourself to become better. And I wrote a blog post this week. If you go out to homerecordingmadeeasy.com and go to the training tab on the menu bar and then go under blog, you'll see the article that I wrote. It's something that struck me the other day, and I wrote an article about it, and I wanted to make a quick video to hopefully inspire some of my followers here to push themselves to get better at the craft of audio production and mixing and mastering. So this struck me as I was watching something this week on TV. So I was sitting one night with my family in my living room, as I do often, to spend some family time, and while we were preparing dinner for the evening, I was sitting on my iPad and I was flipping through some channels to try to find something to watch to try to kill some time, and I was watching I was flipping through Showtime, and I found a documentary by Spike Lee, which was the Michael Jackson documentary, from Motown to Off the Wall, I think is the proper name of it. And I'm not a Michael Jackson fan by any means. I'm not a big fan of his music, especially in the more recent years before his untimely passing. His earlier stuff, Off the Wall, Thriller, I thought was good stuff. But I don't listen to that style of music per se, but I can appreciate him as an artist. So I thought that might be a cool documentary. Let me check it out, and I'm glad I did. And if you've never seen it, I urge you to watch it. Even if you're not a disco fan or a pop fan, or even if you hate Michael Jackson's music, anyone that's in the recording field, the mixing field, would appreciate this. So I'm watching this documentary, and basically it's a documentary about Michael Jackson from the time he was a little kid in the Jackson 5 through the time that he made the Off the Wall record. And one of the things that struck me as I was watching this, and it's an entertaining documentary, is that how that record was really made. And I had forgotten over the years on how well that record was recorded, and more importantly, the mix of that record, and how sonically the mix is just an amazing mix, and probably one of the better mixes, probably, arguably of all time. I mean, there's a lot of great mixes out there, and there's classic records, and there's some gold standards of mixing. And I think that is one of them, among others. And so as I was watching this documentary, two things really struck me that really kind of inspired me. One was the way that record was recorded. Back in, I believe, 1979 is when it was recorded. I got some notes here. I wrote it down. It was recorded in from 1978, December of 1978, and it was released in June of 1979. So back in those days, unlike today, especially with pop records, there was no Pro Tools, and there was no VST instruments, and there was no drum machines, or maybe there were, but they weren't widely used. The way that record was recorded, like all records of that time, it was recorded with human beings in a live room, a real drummer, real horn players, real guitar players, real bass players, obviously real vocals. And so when you look at the way that record was recorded, it was even though it's a pop record, and if you compare that to pop records today and the way they're recorded, today records are mostly made on laptops in that field. Most of it is done with sampling and with beats, and with software instruments more times than not, and the vocals are auto-tuned to death, where back then that record was made with all humans, very organic. So that really struck me, and it was a reminder to me on why I loved that period of music so much, even though I'm more of a rock guy, and the Zeppelins and the Stones and those kinds of things, but they were all made around the same time period, and that it was really made with real people. And to get that kind of recording that is on Off the Wall, recording wise, the record is recorded in an amazing way and sounds amazing, and the musicianship is second to none, and that was inspiring for me. I'd forgotten about that. But even more importantly than that is when you listen to snippets of that record throughout the documentary, the mix of that record, which it was mixed by Bruce Swindine, and he has worked with countless top name artists, Mick Jagger and Jennifer Lopez, and there's a couple others I wrote down here, Herbie Hancock, Paul McCartney, the list goes on and on. But the Michael Jackson Off the Wall record was one that really put Bruce on the map as far as one of the classic mixes of all time. And when you listen to the snippets through the documentary, the little sections of music of, playing back certain examples of certain songs, it really struck me how sonically, how amazing that record actually sounded. So much so that after the documentary, I actually, believe it or not, had that CD way back in the 80s. If for the younger folks watching this, if you don't know what a compact disc is or a CD, they're the little silver things that you would put in your car. Today, everything is MP3. But I actually had the CD in my archive, and I actually brought that CD into my control room and patched up a portable CD player to my control room speakers and listened to that album in its entirety in my control room. And just to appreciate how well that mix is really done and how sonically that mix sounds, I mean, amazing, better than anything I could ever come up with as far as an engineer. And it was really inspiring. You can hear every single detail in that record. You can hear every instrument, the way that Bruce used the panning out, the left and right, but more importantly, the front and back, the 3D sound field, which we talk about on my YouTube channel, is simply amazing. You can hear every instrument with the utmost clarity. The mix is just perfect. Everything just sounds so clean and warm, and the mix is just amazing. And it was really inspiring. And I thought, it really kind of rejuvenated me in a way to continue to move forward and get better at my mixing. I spend a lot of time today doing a lot of the teaching to all of you that are watching this video. And sometimes when you're teaching and you're going maybe, back to the beginner intermediate level and you're teaching the concepts and the techniques, sometimes you tend to get lost in the technical end of things because I'm trying to teach a certain subject or a certain concept. And so sometimes that is not the most inspiring thing. It's inspiring for me to teach people, and I really get inspired when people email me and you guys write back to me and say how much my videos have helped you and you thank me, so on and so forth. That's inspiring in a different way, but it's so inspiring, and I'm so thankful for that. But as far as my own personal mixing abilities, sometimes you tend to get lost when you're trying to teach. And so watching this documentary was a great revelation for me, and it really made me excited about getting into the next client project that I have coming up in about 2 weeks to mix a full record. And even though it's not a dance or a disco record like Off the Wall is, it's more of an indie rock record. But again, being able to listen to the Off the Wall record in its entirety and really get inspired by the way that record was recorded and the way it was mixed, it's really a classic. And if you've never listened to it, again, even if you don't like that kind of music, you can appreciate, if you're an engineer or someone in the craft that we're in, to listen to that. And there's others out there too. I mean, Back in Black by AC/DC is another one that is just an amazing rock mix, one of the gold standards. So again, I guess part of this video was for me to kind of hopefully encourage you, or to remind you to go find those mixes that inspired you, or that are inspiring to you, or the mixes or the records that you really love the way they sound sonically, regardless of the style of music. And I would also encourage you that if you're not into into disco or into pop like the Michael Jackson record, you may be more of a rock and a metal person like myself. But don't count that kind of music out as far as a production and a mix standpoint and a songwriting standpoint. You can learn a lot by listening to music that you're not normally, attracted to, and you don't normally gravitate towards. Get yourself out of your comfort zone. Find that record that could inspire you, and you'd be surprised. Like I was, I never thought in a Michael Jackson documentary that I'm not even a fan of Michael Jackson. But it really did inspire me, and it really did make me appreciate Michael Jackson as an artist, especially in his earlier days, and how talented he was as a songwriter, as a performer, just as an artist. Especially they show the footage from when he was with the Jackson 5. He's like a little kid, and you just go, wow, what a talent. I mean, all his whole family, but him in particular, what a talent. And so again, I just thought it was inspiring, and I just wanted to pass it along to you. And I even wrote a blog post about it. Go check out the blog post. But if you have never listened to that CD, I encourage you to go listen to that CD. Put it in your CD player, take any track, and just listen to it. And if you're looking to emulate a sonic footprint of a mix. You can pick any track off that CD and you can kind of use that as a blueprint or kind of as a guideline. It's an amazing mix. It's well recorded, and it is a great record, even if it's in the style of music that I don't appreciate. So anyway, just a little food for thought this week while I'm recording the making of the Recording Drum Made Easy series. I'm in the midst of that, and so I'm not doing any training videos for YouTube, but I thought I'd just give you a little bit of inspiration. Hopefully this will inspire you to go check out some new music or revisit some old music and get yourself rejuvenated and re-inspired to push yourself along, to get better at the craft, and to continue to do your training, whether it's through my stuff or whether it's through other stuff that you find. Continue to push. It's a journey. You know, this whole thing of mixing and getting better as an engineer, it takes lots of time, lots of practice, and it's a journey. And so hopefully this will help push you down the road a little bit further in your journey. So for more tips, tricks, concept, techniques, and training around everything home recording, head out to homerecordingmadeeasy.com and sign up for the VIP email list so you'll get some free deals on upcoming products, yada, yada, yada. And for more information about my mixing and mastering services, excuse me, you can always head out to visionrecordingstudios.com. And until next time with another video, this has been Dave with homerecordingmadeeasy.com, and I will speak to you all soon. Take care.